Have you ever wondered whether lifeless stones could somehow carry a soul, or even a curse that has endured for thousands of years? Most of us think of rocks as nothing more than ordinary objects scattered across the landscape. But around the world, there are mysterious rock formations so extraordinary that they leave scientists searching for answers, while local people grow uneasy whenever their names are mentioned. From massive rock formations that resemble three gigantic whales lying deep within ancient forests, to stones that seem to move on their own without anyone touching them, and even enormous boulders that appear to float in defiance of the laws of physics. Most astonishing of all are the rocks shaped like colossal dragons, covered with scales so realistic that they are almost unsettling to look at. Many believe these formations are nothing more than remarkable geological coincidences. Yet ancient curses, fulfilled prophecies, and a series of eerie coincidences have left people around the world wondering if something far stranger is at work. The first destination on this haunting journey takes us to Buangkan Province, hidden deep within Phu Lanka National Park in Thailand. This remote region is home to one of the greatest mysteries of modern history, a place whose discovery shocked not only scientists, but also those who believe in the supernatural. It is known as Naka Cave, or, as many people around the world call it, Snake Cave. Before looking at the cave as a whole, take a closer look at the rock surfaces. Do you notice the perfectly aligned hexagonal grooves covering the stone? They rise and fall in neat patterns, layered with astonishing precision. If I didn't tell you these were natural sandstone formations, you would probably insist that you were looking at the scales of a gigantic creature lying asleep in darkness for thousands of years. From the moment it was first discovered, Naka Cave was never considered just another geological site. It has always been linked to a tragic and terrifying legend about the great Naga king. According to the legend, he was once a divine being who was punished and transformed into a colossal serpent because of a forbidden love that was never meant to exist. His punishment was not merely the loss of his original form. He was condemned to remain imprisoned inside this cave forever, turned to stone along with his entire army of loyal followers. The king's death and his transformation into stone was not the end of the story. Instead, it marked the beginning of an endless wait spanning thousands of years. Inside Naka Cave, the air is always damp, carrying the heavy scent of ancient earth. A chilling current rises from deep beneath the ground, sending shivers through everyone who steps inside. The faint light filtering through the cave entrance is only enough to reveal long, gently curving rock formations that resemble the spine of a colossal serpent, as if it were waiting to awaken and reclaim its lost kingdom. One detail makes this story even more unsettling. It is an ancient prophecy preserved by the people of Buangkan. The prophecy declares that the Dragon King would be released from his curse, and the hidden cave would reveal itself only after exactly 10 years. Remarkably, in 2020, precisely 10 years after Buangkan Province was officially established in 2010, the cave was finally discovered by local residents and opened to the world. The timing was so precise that many people could not dismiss it as mere coincidence. Was it simply an extraordinary twist of history? Or had the spirit of the Dragon King truly decided that the modern world was finally allowed to witness his stone-bound suffering? Scientists have attempted to explain the phenomenon through a process known as thermal weathering. According to their research, hundreds of thousands of years of dramatic temperature changes between scorching daytime heat and cool nighttime air cause the sandstone to crack into remarkably regular geometric patterns. Imagine the way dry ground splits apart during a hot summer. Now imagine those cracks somehow arranging themselves into what looks like perfectly formed serpent scales. That is the explanation science offers. Yet when you stand before those enormous rock formations, their bodies twisting and curving exactly like a giant snake slithering across the earth. And then there is the most astonishing formation of all, a massive rock that looks exactly like the head of a dragon. Its eyes are peacefully closed, yet they radiate an unmistakable sense of majesty. Standing before it, you begin to question everything you thought you knew about nature. The dragon's head is not merely shaped like a living creature. It seems to possess its very presence. The deep-set eyes, the prominent snout, and the tightly sealed mouth give the impression that it is guarding one final secret from the prehistoric world, a secret humanity has never been allowed to uncover. Still within Buangkan Province, but at another location atop the majestic Fusing Mountain, nature once again displays its extraordinary artistry. Imagine standing on the edge of a towering cliff, gazing down over an endless sea of emerald forest. What lies before you is not a collection of ordinary rocks. Instead, it appears as though three gigantic whales are swimming through the vast green wilderness. This is Hin Sam Wan, affectionately known around the world as Three Whale Rock. The moment you step onto the backs of these enormous stone whales, an overwhelming sense of awe takes hold. The wind whistles through narrow cracks in the rocks, producing a deep, haunting sound that resembles the distant call of an ancient ocean echoing through the forest. The sandstone beneath your feet is far from smooth. Its rough texture, weathered surface, and patches of gray moss create the uncanny feeling that you are touching the skin of prehistoric sea creatures. Standing near the edge of the cliffs and looking into the immense abyss below is both exhilarating and terrifying. When sunlight pours down from above, it highlights the graceful curves of the rock formations, making them appear almost alive, as though the whales' bodies are gently rising and falling with every breath of the earth itself. These sandstone formations are estimated to be an astonishing 75 million years old. Viewed from above with a drone, their resemblance becomes almost unbelievable. Three elongated rock formations emerge with rounded backs, looking exactly like a family of whales traveling together. A father whale, a mother whale, and their young calf swimming side by side through a vast ocean of green forest. How could nature possibly sculpt forms so precise and so symbolic? Geologists explain that millions of years of wind and rain gradually eroded the sharp edges of the sandstone. Yet that explanation somehow feels incomplete when you place your hand upon the cold stone and see those flawless curves for yourself. It almost seems as though a divine architect carefully carved every detail into existence. Local people regard this place as a symbol of enduring family bonds and eternal unity. One particularly fascinating mystery remains. Visitors are able to walk only on the backs of the two larger whales. The smallest whale rests in such a dangerous and inaccessible location that almost no one can reach it. Its isolation feels like a quiet reminder that nature still keeps some of its greatest secrets for itself, protecting them behind sheer cliffs and seemingly bottomless chasms. Leaving Thailand behind, our search for legendary creatures turned to stone takes us farther south, to the coast of Jember in East Java Province, Indonesia. There lies a mysterious shoreline known as Watu Ulo. In the Javanese language, Watu means stone, while Ulo means snake. The moment you arrive, you are greeted by an extraordinary rock formation stretching for more than 100 meters, beginning on the sandy beach and extending far out into the sea, standing defiantly against the relentless waves of the Indian Ocean. Its rugged surface is divided into neat, repeating segments that look strikingly similar to the scales of a gigantic serpent slithering from the land into the open ocean. The crashing waves explode against the rocks in bursts of white foam, while the salty sea wind fills the air, creating an atmosphere that feels ancient, mysterious, and almost supernatural. According to the ancient legends of the Javanese people, but according to local legend, this is no ordinary rock formation. It is believed to be the petrified body of a terrifying dragon known as Nogoruzu. The creature was said to possess unimaginable power. It preyed upon marine life and terrorized the peaceful fishing communities that lived along Indonesia's coastline. For generations, its strength cast a shadow of fear across the coastal regions of the archipelago. After a fierce, earth-shaking battle with legendary local heroes, the dragon was finally defeated. Its body was cut into three pieces, and in that very moment, it turned to stone. Local tradition holds that the dragon's head now rests at Grazagan Beach in Banyuwangi. Its body became the Longstone Ridge known today as Watu Ulo, and its tail is believed to lie far away in the distant region of Pasatan. The remarkable similarities in shape and structure between these locations, despite being separated by hundreds of kilometers, have sustained this captivating legend for generations. Could it be that millions of years ago, a battle between colossal beings truly took place on this planet, leaving behind scattered stone remnants across the islands of Indonesia? Leaving the Indonesian coast behind, our journey continues through dense tropical forests into Sarawak, Malaysia. Near the town of Engkalili, beside the peaceful Batangai River, lies a mysterious black rock nearly 9 meters long. The local people know it as Batu Nabau. In the mythology of the Dayak people, Nabau is the name of a gigantic sacred serpent, said to be as massive as the trunk of an ancient coconut tree. The rock itself has an enlarged front that looks remarkably like the head of a real snake. Its jawline, its deep eye sockets, and the lifelike details are so striking that they can be genuinely unsettling. Standing before Batu Nabau inspires both reverence and a deep, instinctive fear. The Iban people believe this is not an ordinary stone. They believe a living spirit resides within it. One of the strangest stories surrounding Batu Nabau is that it never seems to disappear beneath the water. Even during the highest floods, when the Batang Ai River sweeps everything else away, the stone somehow remains visible. Local stories also tell of quiet nights beneath the full moon when the glossy black surface appears to shift ever so slightly. As the river laps against the stone, the sound resembles the sorrowful sigh of a giant sacred serpent imprisoned forever within a shell of solid rock. Our journey now returns once again to Thailand. In Phetchabun province, another extraordinary rock formation has captured worldwide attention. A local fisherman, while casually walking along a riverbank, accidentally discovered a stone that looked astonishingly like the head of a giant serpent sleeping beneath the clear water. As sunlight filters through the dense canopy of the tropical forest and shines across the serpent's head rising above the river, the scene appears almost unreal, like something straight out of a fantasy film. The resemblance does not end there. Just a few meters away, long rock formations curve gracefully with the river's current, forming what looks like the enormous body of a serpent lying beneath the water. The site has become known as the Sleeping Naga. Its existence has inspired both wonder and concern among local residents. Many quietly wonder what might happen if someone were to awaken the ancient creature. Would the river suddenly erupt into violent currents? Would natural disasters follow? Geologists, once again, offer a scientific explanation. They believe the unusual patterns were created by prolonged heat, which caused the rocks to crack, combined with thousands of years of continuous water erosion. The flowing river gradually wore away the softer layers of stone, leaving behind the harder rock in these remarkable shapes. For many Thai people, however, the explanation is far simpler. They believe this is the earthly manifestation of the Naga, the supreme serpent deity who protects rivers, safeguards water sources, and blesses the land with prosperity and abundant harvests. That belief is so deeply rooted that no scientific theory or law of physics has ever been able to shake it. Now take a moment and think about what you've just seen. Why is it that countries with completely different cultures, such as Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, all seem to be home to astonishing rock formations that resemble giant snakes and dragons? Do you believe these shapes are simply the result of natural erosion, where random cracks and weathering have been transformed by the human imagination into the forms of mythical creatures? Or do you lean toward a different possibility? Could it be that millions of years ago, our planet was once inhabited by colossal beings that never made it into our history books? A forgotten world where dragons and humans once existed side by side. And what we see today may be the last surviving evidence of that ancient age. Leaving behind the mysterious stone dragons of Southeast Asia, we now travel halfway around the world to a landscape unlike any other. Death Valley National Park in California, USA. On the dry lake bed known as Racetrack Playa, an astonishingly flat and barren landscape stretches beneath the relentless desert sun. Here lie the famous sailing stones, rocks that seem to move on their own. What makes them so extraordinary is that they have no legs. No person pushes them. No machinery moves them. Yet somehow they travel across the cracked mud, leaving trails that stretch for hundreds of meters behind them. Imagine standing in the absolute silence of the desert. The only sound is the wind whispering across the empty landscape. In front of you rests a rock weighing hundreds of kilograms. It appears completely motionless, but behind it is a long trail carved into the dried mud, as though the stone had completed an incredible journey all by itself. For nearly a century, not even the most dedicated scientists ever witnessed these rocks moving with their own eyes. Over the years, countless theories emerged. Some blamed unusual fluctuations in Earth's magnetic field. Others even suggested extraterrestrial intervention. The mystery surrounding the site became so intense that many people avoided visiting at night, fearing the stones might silently begin following them through the darkness. It wasn't until 2014 that this century-old mystery was finally solved. Time-lapse cameras captured the phenomenon for the first time. During the cold winter months, a shallow layer of water spreads across the lakebed and freezes into a thin sheet of ice. As the morning sun rises, the fragile ice begins to melt and fracture into large floating panels. Even a gentle breeze is enough to push these massive sheets of ice across the slick mud. As they slide, they slowly push the rocks along with them, leaving the famous trails behind. It is an incredibly rare and delicate natural process, one that took humanity nearly 100 years to fully understand. Yet even with a complete scientific explanation, standing in the middle of Racetrack Playa and seeing those mysterious tracks stretching across the desert still sends a chill down the spine. Leaving the American desert behind, our journey now takes us to one of Myanmar's most sacred places, Kyaiktiyo Pagoda, better known as the Golden Rock. Perched on a mountain more than 1,000 meters above sea level, it rises above the clouds in an atmosphere of mist and silence. At the edge of a sheer cliff stands a massive boulder covered in brilliant sheets of gold. What astonishes both engineers and visitors alike is that the enormous rock appears to touch the mountain on only an incredibly small portion of its base. From a distance, it looks as though it is balanced on little more than the size of a human hand. It seems impossible. One powerful gust of wind, or even the gentle push of a child, appears as though it should send the boulder tumbling hundreds of meters into the valley below. The scent of burning incense drifts through the mountain air, mingling with the mist and creating an atmosphere of profound reverence. Thousands of pilgrims kneel before the golden rock in prayer. Delicate sheets of gold leaf, carefully applied by generations of worshippers, shimmer in the evening sunlight. And yet, despite its seemingly impossible position, the golden rock has remained perfectly balanced for centuries. Despite surviving numerous powerful earthquakes that have struck the region throughout history, the golden rock has never fallen. According to Buddhist tradition, the boulder remains perfectly balanced because a single hair relic of the Buddha is enshrined inside the small pagoda built on top of the rock. That sacred relic is believed to create a supernatural balance that no physical force can overcome. Science offers a different explanation. Engineers point out that the massive boulder's center of gravity is positioned directly above its tiny point of contact with the mountain, allowing it to remain stable according to the principles of balance and leverage. It is considered an extraordinarily rare and remarkable natural formation. For millions of Buddhists, however, the Golden Rock is far more than a geological curiosity. It is a genuine miracle, a timeless symbol of unwavering faith, a place where the laws of physics give way to the power of spiritual belief. Now let us return once again to Indonesia. In the Aceh province, along the rugged coastline of Tapaktuan, where the waves of the sea crash relentlessly against the shore throughout the year, another extraordinary stone formation awaits. Here, carved into a massive rock surface, is a depression nearly 6 meters long. Its shape bears an astonishing resemblance to a gigantic human footprint, complete with distinct toes, an arch, and a clearly defined heel. Local people believe this is the footprint of a legendary giant hermit named Tuan Tapa. According to the legend, Tuan Tapa emerged from a cave to fight two dragons that had kidnapped a princess. The force of a single step during that epic battle was said to be so powerful that it sank into solid rock, leaving behind a permanent mark that has endured through the ages. Nearby stands another famous formation known as Batu Belayar, a rock that resembles the sail of a ship frozen in stone just as it was preparing to set out to sea. Legend claims it is the last remaining fragment of a vessel belonging to an ancient kingdom destroyed during that legendary war with the dragons. Geologists, on the other hand, explain that these formations were created by millions of years of powerful ocean waves eroding the coastal basalt cliffs. Yet the story of Tuan Tapa and the giant footprint continues to live on in the hearts of the people of Aceh. The combination of unusual rock formations and heroic legends has transformed this coastline into a destination unlike any other. Next, our journey carries us to the land of fire and ice, Iceland. On Heimaey Island, where icy winds sweep in from the Arctic, stands one of nature's most astonishing masterpieces. It is known as Elephant Rock. This enormous basalt formation looks exactly like a giant elephant lowering its head to drink from the deep blue waters of the Atlantic Ocean. The dark volcanic stone contrasts beautifully with the white sea foam, creating a scene that seems almost unreal. What amazes visitors most is the texture of the rock. Its surface is not smooth. Instead, it is deeply wrinkled and rough, remarkably similar to the skin of a real African elephant. The folds around the neck, the broad ear, and the long trunk reaching toward the water are all so convincing that many people find it difficult to believe it is entirely natural. Scientists explain that the formation was created when molten lava flowed into the freezing ocean. The sudden cooling caused the lava to contract rapidly, forming tightly packed hexagonal basalt columns. It was this unique volcanic process that accidentally produced the extraordinary illusion of lifelike elephant skin. For more than 15,000 years, Elephant Rock has stood firmly against the relentless waves of the North Atlantic, like a silent guardian watching over the sea. Finally, our journey comes to an end in Devrant Valley, in the breathtaking region of Cappadocia, Turkey. Often called the Valley of Imagination, this remarkable landscape is filled with rock formations that seem determined to tell their own stories through their extraordinary shapes. The most famous of them all is Camel Rock. From a distance, rising above the red earth beneath the blazing sun, it appears exactly like a proud camel standing in the desert, its long neck lifted high against the horizon, complete with two clearly defined humps, gazing into the distance as though patiently waiting for a caravan that disappeared thousands of years ago to finally return. This remarkable formation is carved from a unique type of volcanic rock known as tuff. Over millions of years, wind and rain have sculpted it with astonishing precision, like the work of a master artist patiently shaping a masterpiece. The winds that sweep across Cappadocia carry countless grains of sand. Each tiny grain acts like a microscopic chisel, gradually wearing away the rock day after day, century after century, until the familiar camel shape slowly emerged. But Cappadocia is famous for far more than camel rock. It is also home to its iconic towering stone pillars, known as the fairy chimneys, creating a surreal landscape that looks more like another planet than anywhere on Earth. Walking through this valley, it is impossible not to feel humbled by the immense power of time. You may even find yourself wondering whether you have stepped into an enormous natural sculpture museum, or perhaps the forgotten remains of an ancient civilization, unlike anything we have ever known. 10 extraordinary rocks, 10 unforgettable stories. Each one comes from a different corner of the world. Some have been explained through science, with careful studies of geology, temperature, erosion, and the forces of nature. Others remain unanswered mysteries, existing side by side with ancient legends, curses, and myths that have endured for generations. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between scientific fact and human imagination. Perhaps nature operates not only through the laws of physics, but also through remarkable coincidences, like the prophecy surrounding Naka Cave, that continue to make us question how much we truly understand about our world. One thing is certain: nature has an endless ability to amaze us with creations that challenge the limits of human imagination. So now we'd like to hear from you. Which of these incredible rock formations impressed you the most? Do you believe the legends of dragons turned to stone? Do you think ancient spirits still dwell within these colossal rocks? Or do you believe every one of these wonders can be explained entirely by geology and the slow passage of time? Every stone you've seen today carries a piece of our planet's history. They have stood silently for countless ages, witnessing the rise and fall of great civilizations, dramatic shifts in Earth's climate, and the remarkable evolution of humankind itself. Share your thoughts in the comments below.